test match and not 2020 for the lack of a better example.
Is there a strategy that you follow, or would you want to talk about how you started?
Designing or lifestyle YouTubing, and we ended up doing both.
Many of you must be wondering कि ये है क्या, क्यों है और किस लिए है. So let me give you some brief about what this is all about. I have been in this industry for the past 7 years. The one thing that I've noticed is that we as architects and interior designers are well off, well paid many a times, and well known as well. But आगे क्या? I don't see people in our profession interacting a lot with each other. अगर बात करते भी हैं तो काम की ही. We do not talk about our experiences, challenges, plans, and most valuable of all, insights की. That we have gained ourselves through our experiences. As the first guest today, we have Sahiba Wadhwa with us. Sahiba and I, we started this firm that we built over 7 years. We did 600 plus projects across these 7 years. So let's just start and you'll know the worth of this initiative yourself.
Hi Sahiba, welcome to the podcast.
Hi,
How are
glad
you
to
today?
be here. I'm doing well, thank you.
Excellent. So Sahiba and I have been working together for a very long time now, and I'm glad that my guest today is none other than Sahiba.
I'm glad to be here. Finally in your ravishing studio.
Great, I am equally excited. So let's start with your journey. You had a very different background when you started. So tell me more about it. What was your background, and what made you come to design as a field? And how did you start? And tell us how you progressed from where you started.
So 2016 is when we joined hands to start this firm. You wanted to do constructions, I wanted to do interior designing. And the name was Brintext, Bricks, Interiors, Exteriors. But soon enough we realized that interior design market was a better fit for us, and Hyderabad anyway had a huge opportunity for that. So that's how we pivoted to become solely an interior design firm. Background would be I was a practicing dentist. Dentistry is what I did for 8 years, 5 years education, and then I did more than 100 cases. But it was later that I realized that only if I did something creative is when I would be happy. And back then I remember talking to you, I was switching into two options, whether to do interior designing or lifestyle YouTubing, and we ended up doing both.
So since you had a different background altogether, tell me, for people who are entering this field, is formal education a must-have, or you can do without it?
So I came from the space where I was passionate about it. But that's not all about it. So I hear a lot of people, including my friends, who ask, we also are passionate about interior designing, and should we pursue this, and would we be able to hit a successful mark? So if you're passionate about, to answer your question, if you're passionate about it, yes. If you are really keen and you think you have that design sense, yes. But there's more to it. You have to have good business acumen to build a brand. I think for us, our focus was always right in the start. We never wanted to become individual interior designers. It was more of brand building. So yes, if you could hire the right people, you could join hands with professionals, be it interior designers, be it managers, be it marketing professionals, and then you focus on just building the right brand and refining the process, and that would lead you to doing a successful interior design business and building a brand in that.
So that said, tell us, how do you get clients today? Is there a strategy that you follow, or would you want to talk about how you started, how you were getting clients in the beginning, how are you getting them now?
The short answer to that would be social media. It is more well understood today than it was back then when we started. But it's a game of test match and not 2020 for the lack of a better example. I think tapasya karni padti hai for a lot of months or even years. We were putting, I remember, video every week after week, and it was not
so this was a YouTube channel?
Yes, the Decor Anthem I'm talking about. So there also, if you remember, we had hit a viral point, so to say, after about 1.5 years.
or more, I think probably 2
yeah,
years.
more than that. And our idea initially was to, we wanted to put projects just so that whenever people ask us what we've done in the past, we could show them. That was our initial idea. But that worked in our favor in the way that we couldn't imagine. So social media is certainly at this point more so the most important or most effective way of getting clients, and just putting good content around your work and around your philosophy, around your individuality, can bring you even 5 more revenue channels tomorrow. You would never know that. So social media, doing that right, doing that with your individuality.
Now, my next question is, it's a little fundamental, but it could be, the answer could be a little technical as well. So, how do you have your clients visualize what you are planning for them in terms of designing?
The functional or the fundamental answer is 2Ds and 3Ds. But in my personal opinion, I think reading your client before is very important, to choose the right method of visualization for that. Why I say that is because I see a lot of young clients who are in their 30s have preferred having mood boards from us. And as designers in our team, mood boards give us that freedom of, putting pictures or text or color palettes or multiple things in one, and we can truly make something new.
Sure.
But if you have more mature audience, 2Ds and 3Ds are the way to go. 3Ds for not majorly for colors as much, but for people to have a spatial understanding. Like, let's say if you've taken in a bedroom, you've taken a wardrobe, a TV unit, a bed, a workstation maybe, to understand whether or not, like if you've underutilized or overutilized the space. And 2Ds then for, the intricates of the depth, width and shelves, etc.
So, do you think 2D and 3D alone would suffice when it comes to explaining the clients about what you're visualizing for them? Or do you think there is a miss there, something else that could bring in that connection for the clients?
I think it is, in 90% of cases, I think it is better to do all three. So mood boards give you...
So mood board is the third one.
Correct.
Okay.
So mood boards give you, for the designer, they can bring much more or much newer things on the table and make you visualize, like this is a picture that I've taken a reference of, like this is coming maybe from a Scandinavian theme, and this would be the color palette, and this is the twist I want to bring in it. So you could bring all of those things together in a mood board. And once the client has understood that, then you move to the details in the 2Ds and 3Ds. So that entire package is, I think, what works best for visualization.
A set of mood boards could be built with real pictures, pictures that you pick up from Pinterest, Google, here and there.
Right.
So those are themes that are already made.
Right.
So when you do a 3D alone, with no matter how good the software is, cannot show the entire space in entirety. So
Correct.
So mood boards, I think solves the puzzle, empty space that you have after the 2Ds and 3Ds are shown to a client. I think, yeah, that's right. I agree with that.
And that's especially for people like us who are doing designs entirely. Like, we're doing it theme based, we're doing it with knowing people's individualities, and we're designing complete end to end. For people who are just doing woodwork, I think 2Ds and 3Ds would suffice for them, because they're just showing pieces of wardrobes and kitchen and cut pieces. But if you want to show, like, there's a sports person and you want to bring this element, you want to bring that element, and the entire house comes in a certain theme, then I think this holistic approach works best for designers like us.
Sure. Okay. So my next question is, I know we've not been doing it from the very beginning, but from the time we started doing it, I know it made a big difference. So I'm talking about agreements, contracts and agreements with the clients, with the contractors as well. But specifically with the clients, tell me, what are your top 3-4 picks for the clauses that really helped us, grow the business?
The tough question, huh? I think transparency. is what I'd want to maintain every single time with every single client coming from different backgrounds as well. 3 points would be one, a detailed BOQ.
Bit of quantities.
Bit of quantities, yes. So everything that is in the summary also for that we have to mention that everything quantified in this is the one that you have paid for or you'd be paying for, and anything that is not mentioned in this will be over and above, and it should not specifically be linked to the 3Ds that you've taken, because a lot of times even after 3Ds people change their requirements. So BOQ should be the point of reference always for the things that you've paid for and what has to be done after that if it has to be done. Then the second would be deliverables. Clear deliverables, like the number of iterations we would do in 2Ds or 3Ds, a number of meetings that we would have, the number of operational hours that we have, and in some cases we tend to overlook that a little. Like if we mentioned 4 meetings or 5 meetings, 6 would also be fine, but at the same time the clients need to understand that we are not superhumans. When you respect a doctor's operational hours, you ought to respect designers' operational hours as well. If our team is already working 6 days, 10:30 to 7:30, I wouldn't want the team to burn themselves up by taking the calls on a Sunday or an evening also. So putting that down across for a client very clearly, and having them to understand that it is very important and crucial for us to operate that way is the second point. Third is timelines, very important. Now timelines, we would know more than any other industry that timelines depend on a lot of factors. A few of them being timely selections from the clients, timely payments from the clients, external factors like sometimes some things would come from the builder's end and it could only be solved by the client being involved. So if these 3 things are met, that is when we can stick to whatever timeline we have committed basis the scope of work that we have. These 3 things I think are very, very important to put down across in a very transparent manner. There's no point hiding or not putting these things out clearly, because eventually you will have to say these things, and it's better to just put it out across in the start, and if the client has any questions we could solve them right before the execution starts.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, my next question is, what top 3 mistakes people should avoid when they're doing their spaces?
First, don't do it on your own. It's like cutting your own hair or servicing your own car. While a few
Those are
of
good
you,
examples, actually.
while a few of you might be able to nail it, most of you would. Exceptions, just saying for the sake of it. While a few of you might be able to nail it, let's assume, most of you would end up in a soup with high blood pressure and stress. So I think better avoid that. Second, most important thing is to trust your designers. Now, obviously, you've taken time, to choose your designer. In most cases, you've gone to a couple of people where you've understood that this person works for me or this firm works for me, this firm doesn't work for me for whatever reasons. And once you've made that choice, place that trust in your designer. Only then the design firm would be able to, so you would have sessions in the starting where the designer would ask you questions on your individualities, what do you want, what you don't want. But once you've given that input, after that, just place your entire trust on the design firm to execute it properly and stick to that trust. Don't have doubts in the middle, and most importantly, don't bring those doubts to the designer. It would not help the process, I think. Placing the trust and sticking to it is very important. Third is a little tough one in today's era. Don't take too many designs off Pinterest.
Yeah, Google, Pinterest.
Yeah, internet has it all. Again, the doctor example, you could read all your symptoms and you could come to a point.
The procedures as well.
Yes, but the doctor only knows. So with Pinterest, I agree that it's very enticing and it could be, something that you would want every now and then. This is something blows your mind and you ask your designer. But only a professional, like a lot of designs would be region specific, would be time specific in execution, would be execution wise whether it's possible or not, and a lot of specifications for that would be identified by a professional only. So not everything that looks gold should be taken. You can obviously bring your ideas to the table, but then let the professional decide whether it is doable in your city, in your timeline, in your budget, everything put together, and then yes.
Okay, if we've touched upon the mistakes, now tell me what are those very important factors in designing one's space? Could be a home, could be any other space.
The right answer to this would be the perfect blend of aesthetics and functionality. But in my personal opinion, I think bringing the individualities of people in their homes is very, very important in designing a space. I'll give you an example. So I've come across this case in a lot of my clients' projects that let's say the builders give you, most of the builders in their hall layout give you a formal living section and an informal living section. But if the brief says or the client says that we do not have as many formal guests, we have minimal to zero formal guests coming to our place, then why do we have to, furnish it in a formal and informal living space? We could very well do a very apt one living area, and the second area we could use for something that matches their personalities or lifestyles, like a library corner or a convertible reading nook, convertible kids space that they could use in evenings, maybe a pool table for people who like it. So this is something that your client might or might not be able to identify on their own.
Yeah,
you could do it for them, and at the end they'll love it, I think.
Okay, this next one is my favorite. Tell me, what would you prefer more? Consistent lighting through ceilings, walls and lamps, or inconsistent lighting through natural light, walls and lamps, and not the ceilings? And this would be inconsistent when you don't do the ceilings.
Right. It is more area specific, I would say. There are certain areas like commercial spaces or spaces where consistent lighting is a need for functionality rather than a choice. And a lot of, if you talk about residential, a lot of Indian families especially are used to having consistent lighting in their homes. So unless somebody really just wants that, then the answer would be the former one. But if given a choice for clients who would leave the choice on us, I would say inconsistent lighting with a mix of everything would work better. And we could, with that, you could work around with different areas of the house differently. Like if you're building a study corner, maybe that would have a combination of bright lights from different areas, a reading lamp sort of a thing. But if you're creating, like, let's say, a entertainment room or a hall, there dim lighting or lighting in the corners, that is not like indirect lighting in the corners, warm colors, all of those things would work better. So where it's not required functionally, I would choose the latter.
Okay, sure. My next very important question is, what expectations should space owners have from architects or designers?
Okay. Simple answer to that is vibe matching, like you do in a lot of other areas, businesses. Yes, vibe matching is really important. Why do you go to a certain salon only? Why do you go to a certain doctor only?
True.
It is, see, every professional in their area would be good, but then when you visited 4 5 of them, you understand that this one makes me feel more comfortable, or this particular person understands my choices even without explaining them in depth. So same goes with interior designers. So you have to check your why with us. You have to see whether we are understanding your needs or not. Like I have had a lot of clients who would come to me, and within 5 minutes of discussion we would say that you know what, I think you would like a Scandinavian theme a lot. Your choices are very subtle pastel colors, and I think this would go better. Just with that one sentence, the client would feel this is exactly what I was looking for. You know,
Yeah.
so that, and both ways. It has to
Makes
go
sense.
both
Yeah.
ways. You
True.
should also understand that the client are are they aligned with your why? Would you be able to have this long-term relationship? And interior designer, we all, in interior design area, we all know that it's a long-term relationship. It's not a 15 days or a 20 days
Sure.
relationship. So that is one. Second, I think understanding again from both the clients and the interior designers is that we have to work together as partners throughout this process. It is not a one-way street. I mean, if the client expects the interior design firm to hit all the corners right on their own without you know, the timely selections and the timely feedbacks from them, that's not going to work. So you give us that support, we give you our professional work and our professional expertise, and both parties working together as partners would always yield the best results.
Okay. Okay. My last question is: what message would you like to give to your clients or other prospective clients?
It would be that, again, on the lines of vibe matching, but we believe that we truly bring something different to the table. And by different, I mean different for every single client, even if the layouts are same. So take time to understand where we are coming from, take time to understand what we are saying, go through all the details of the agreement and understand first, and then go to the execution phase. And that way I think we both will benefit from this professional agreement.
Agree. I think I'll add to that. Also, you know, it's important to study about raw materials and designs a little bit
Yes,
before
yes.
you come to us or go to anybody else, because once you have picked up some knowledge about it, it would be easy for you to understand what any designer would want to tell you. You know,
Correct.
and that makes the entire journey for both parties very easy. So
Right.
yeah, perhaps picking up some knowledge is also very important.
And we've seen in our experience, whichever clients had gone to multiple design firms and had gathered that knowledge, always worked in a favor. Like they
I think their
understood.
questions were very well articulated, and they had very specific things to check about. And when we got down to designing, I think they were
Prepared.
pretty sure about
Yeah.
what they wanted, and
Yeah.
they were quite well prepared. And they were, because they had picked up various BOQs and quotations from various people.
Correct.
They were sort of linking the designs back to the BOQs as well. So many things worked out better when people had visited other people and taken quotations, and you know, also they were understood from the internet, and they would
Right.
have read about various raw materials, and you know,
Right.
probably watched YouTube based videos and so on. At the same time, I would say, you know, reading too much and watching too much is also not a good idea, and you know, that could confuse you to another extent.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And meeting other people, meeting
picking some knowledge and
yes.
meeting other people, and you know, gaining some knowledge on the quantities and different qualities should help.
And in our case, I mean, it has always worked best because they then know what other people are giving and
Not giving.
and what we
Yeah,
are giving,
true.
what
That's
we are
right.
bringing to the table and what others are bringing to the table. So that gives us an edge in most cases if people have met other people before us.
Right. So there you hear it. It's always good to have people visiting other designers,
Yes.
other vendors as well, because for many of us we might think that people are window shopping, but that always helps. People
Correct.
would pick up a lot of knowledge from here and there, and therefore their questions would be better articulated,
Yeah.
and it would eventually help you.
Yes.
We really hope that you like this conversation. I'll be back soon with many more podcasts. Until then, bye.
Bye-bye. Take care. Loved being here. Kanak, thank you.
बस मैं यही कहना चाहूंगा कि this is the beginning of something really big. This was our first episode. In the upcoming weeks, months and years, you'll be seeing everything architecture and interior designing. You will hear solutions to all of your problems through the seasoned and the not so seasoned from the industry. You'll also get to see a lot of tours of residential and commercial projects. You'll get your hands on reels and full YouTube videos. So subscribe to this channel, like it and share. And do not forget to follow us on Instagram, क्योंकि बहुत सारी clips ऐसी भी होंगी जो सिर्फ Instagram Reels पे आएंगी. And trust me, it is all very informational, fun and insightful. See you in the next video.